when U.S. officials met with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. It brought a dark chapter of recent history back into the spotlight: the brutal murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Even as diplomacy continues, his death looms as a powerful symbol of the dangers faced by those who dare to speak truth to power. But who was Jamal Khashoggi? And why was his voice so threatening that it had to be silenced? Jamal Khashoggi wasn't always an outsider. For decades, he was a well-connected insider within Saudi Arabia's most powerful circles. Born in 1958 into a prominent family, he built an illustrious career as a journalist and editor for several major Saudi newspapers. He was so trusted that he even served as an advisor to Prince Turki Al Faisal, who was the Saudi ambassador to the United States. Khashoggi understood the inner workings of the royal court and, for a long time, believed in the kingdom's potential for gradual, internal reform. For years, he worked within the boundaries set by the Saudi establishment. But everything changed with the rise of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, often called MBS, in 2017. While MBS introduced economic and social reforms, he also launched a severe crackdown on any form of dissent. Activists, clerics, and even rival members of the royal family were arrested. This wave of repression shattered Khashoggi's hopes for a more open Saudi Arabia. Feeling he could no longer speak freely in his own country, he made the difficult choice to go into self-imposed exile in the United States. It was there, as a columnist for the Washington Post, that his voice found a new, powerful platform. From his new home, Khashoggi became one of the most prominent critics of the Saudi crown prince. His articles weren't calling for revolution. They were thoughtful arguments for a freer, more open Arab world. He wrote about the dangers of absolute power and the critical need for free speech, lamenting the silencing of independent voices back home. His criticism was measured and came from a place of deep knowledge, but for the Saudi leadership, it was an unforgivable act of defiance. By speaking to a global audience, Khashoggi had crossed a line. On October 2, 2018, Jamal Khashoggi walked into the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey. He needed to get documents for his upcoming marriage to his fiancée, Hadise Cengiz, who waited for him outside. She waited for hours. He never came out. What happened inside the consulate was pieced together through investigations by Turkish authorities and intelligence reports. A 15-man Saudi squad, including intelligence officers and a forensic doctor, had flown to Istanbul on private jets. Leaked audio recordings painted a horrifying picture. Khashoggi was confronted, restrained, and brutally murdered. U.S. intelligence later concluded that he was killed and then dismembered by a team acting under the direct command of the Saudi state. So what led to this horrific act? The consensus is that Jamal Khashoggi was killed because of his journalism. His growing influence as a critic on the world stage was seen as a direct threat to the crown prince's carefully crafted image as a modern reformer. Several factors made him a target. First, his platform. Writing for the Washington Post gave him a level of credibility and reach that was impossible to ignore. His words were shaping international opinion. Second, the content of his criticism. As a former insider, he understood the system's flaws intimately. His arguments couldn't be easily dismissed as uninformed. And finally, the brutal nature of the murder itself was a chilling message to any other dissidents, warning them of the consequences of challenging the new leadership. The global outcry was immediate. Intelligence agencies, including the CIA, concluded with high confidence that Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman personally approved the operation. The Saudi government's story changed multiple times. First, they denied any knowledge. Then, they admitted the killing happened but called it a rogue operation. They held a trial that was widely condemned for its lack of transparency, convicting 8 unnamed individuals. Years later, the debate continues. Images of Western leaders meeting with the Crown Prince have sparked outrage, with critics arguing that strategic interests like oil prices are being prioritized over accountability for a state-sanctioned murder. Jamal Khashoggi's life and death highlight the intense struggle between authoritarian power and the fundamental human right to free expression. His legacy lives on through the work of journalists and activists who continue to fight for the very principles he died for. His story is a sobering and vital reminder of the risks they take every day in their pursuit of the truth. Thank you for watching. If you found this story important, please like and subscribe for more deep dives into the events that shape our world.